Do you know that episode 5 of Teach You a Lesson wasn't entirely fictional? 3 years ago, a 23-year-old elementary school teacher lost her life after enduring relentless pressure and harassment from parents. Unlike the drama, no one was there to save her. And that's when I realized there is no EPRB in real life. But before we talk about why this episode hit me so hard, let me quickly recap the story for those who haven't watched it yet. The episode opens with an elementary school teacher attempting to hang herself inside her classroom. Just then, an EPRB officer enters and tells her it's time for the mandatory mental health evaluation. After reviewing the results, they determine that her psychological state is extremely unstable and place her on leave for treatment. Meanwhile, Officer Wajin is assigned as the new homeroom teacher. It is then revealed that it was the teacher's own mother who reported to the EPRB after secretly reading her daughter's diary. A flashback shows how Ji Seon began her career at an elementary school and first met Eugene's mother. At first, the mother politely asked Ji Seon to help improve her son's confidence. However, her behavior soon became obsessive. She constantly texted Ji Seon outside working hours, monitored her social media accounts, and even made inappropriate comments about her personal life. When Ji Seon reported the harassment to the principal, she was simply told to ignore it because the school couldn't afford to upset the parents. The principal even suggested to delete her social media accounts to avoid further conflict. Her colleagues said the same, insisting that dealing with difficult parents was simply part of the job, that she had no choice but to endure it. Despite the relentless harassment, Ji Seon successfully helped Eugene come out of his shell and become more sociable. However, during a classroom play session, Eugene pushed another student to the ground. When the injured boy's mother demanded an apology, Eugene's mother immediately shifted the blame onto Ji Seon, accusing her of failing to supervise the children properly. The incident eventually escalated into a school violence committee hearing, where Eugene was found responsible. Refusing to accept the outcome, his mother resorted to a far more malicious tactic by filing a false child abuse complaint against Ji Seon. As the investigation unfolded, Eugene's mother leaked the allegations online, exposing Ji Seon's identity to the public. She was soon overwhelmed by nonstop phone calls and online harassment. Unable to withstand the relentless pressure, Ji Seon eventually attempted to take her own life. Back in the present, the EPRB officers discuss Ji Seon's case and the devastating consequences of false accusations against teachers. They point out that emotional abuse often leaves no visible scars, forcing many to suffer in silence while receiving little protection. Determined to make the mother understand the damage she caused, Wajin decides to give her a taste of her own medicine. He repeatedly calls her throughout the day with endless questions about how to care for Eugene, invading her personal time until she becomes increasingly frustrated. He then files a child abuse complaint against the parents, highlighting the emotional harm inflicted on Ji Seon through months of harassment, stalking, and even threats of physical violence. As the investigation progresses, Eugene's mother begins to crumble under the same public scrutiny and social judgment she once subjected Ji Seon to. Finally, Wajin shows her that Eugene feels happier, safer, and more loved when he is with his teacher, something his own mother had failed to provide. Confronted with the consequences of her actions, she finally realizes the pain she has caused and sincerely regrets her behavior. At first, this feels like another emotional K-drama, right? But what if I tell you that she is not the biggest problem here? Don't get me wrong. She absolutely deserves to be held accountable. But I think focusing only on her makes us ignore a much bigger problem. I would like to ask, where was the school management? The system that was supposed to protect its own teachers? The most heartbreaking part wasn't the harassment itself. It was watching a teacher ask for help and being told to simply endure it. That's not support. That's a clear abandonment. Maybe that's why the ending feels so satisfying. In the drama, the teacher is given a rescue team. But in reality, all we can offer is our condolences after it's already too late. Why do we keep waiting until someone reaches their breaking point before we take them seriously? When I finished this episode, I wasn't thinking about whether the mother would be punished. The real question is, if another teacher found themselves in the exact situation tomorrow, can any of us honestly guarantee that the outcome would be any different?